You are exhausted. Not the kind of tired that a good night's sleep fixes. The kind that has been building for weeks. The kind where you lie down at a reasonable hour, stare at the ceiling, check your phone, stare at the ceiling again, and wonder why sleep, the most natural thing a body can do, feels like something you have to earn. Here is what nobody told you. The way you sleep right now, alone in a dark room, for one unbroken 8-hour block, is one of the strangest sleeping arrangements in the entire history of your species. It was invented recently. It was invented deliberately. And for the 300,000 years before it existed, your ancestors slept in a way that was almost nothing like it. What was sleep really like for ancient humans? The answer starts in Tanzania. The Hadza are one of the last remaining true hunter-gatherer populations on Earth. They live in the Rift Valley, in roughly the same landscape where your earliest ancestors roamed. They do not have electricity. They do not have alarm clocks. They do not have sleep apps or blackout curtains or white noise machines. And in 2017, anthropologist David Samson published a detailed study of their sleep patterns, attaching wrist sensors to Hadza individuals across multiple seasons and tracking exactly when they slept, how long, and how deeply. What he found surprised almost everyone. The Hadza slept an average of 6.5 hours per night. Not 8, not 9, 6.5. They fell asleep not at a fixed hour, but when their body temperature dropped naturally after sunset. They woke, on average, before sunrise, not because anything alarmed them, but because that is when the body's core temperature begins to rise again. And in the entire dataset, across hundreds of nights of recorded sleep, there were almost no instances of what modern sleep researchers would classify as insomnia. Not because the Hadza have better discipline, not because their lives are less stressful, but because of something structural in how they slept that modern humans have almost entirely abandoned. They never slept alone. Across the research of anthropologist Carol Worthman, who spent decades documenting sleep practices across traditional societies worldwide, one pattern emerges with striking consistency. Isolated individual sleep. One person, one room, one bed is a historical anomaly. In virtually every pre-industrial society studied, sleep happened in groups. Bodies close together. The warmth of other people. The sound of breathing. Children pressed against parents. Elders near the fire. The night was not empty. It was full of the low hum of other lives continuing around you. This matters for a reason deeper than warmth or safety. When you sleep near other people, your nervous system registers them. Some part of your brain that never fully switches off tracks the sounds and movements around you and uses them as continuous, low-level confirmation that the world is stable. You are not alone in the dark. The threat is not coming. You can go deeper. Alone in a silent room, that same ancient system keeps listening. And when it hears nothing, no breathing, no movement, no confirmation that others are near, it does not interpret silence as safety. It interprets silence as absence. And absence, for 300,000 years of human evolution, meant danger. But the communal sleep arrangement is only part of the story. Because there is something else your ancestors did at night that has been hiding in plain sight for decades, waiting for one historian to notice it. In 2005, historian Roger Ekirch published a book called At Day's Close, the result of 16 years of research into pre-industrial nighttime. Buried in his sources, medieval diaries, court records, literary texts, medical writings going back to ancient Rome, he kept finding references to something called the first sleep and the second sleep. Two separate sleep periods, divided by an hour or two of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night. People would sleep for 3 or 4 hours, wake naturally, lie quietly or talk softly or tend the fire or make love, and then drift back into a second, lighter sleep until morning. This was not insomnia. It was not a disorder. It was the default. In 1992, sleep researcher Thomas Wehr confirmed it in a controlled experiment. He took a group of volunteers and removed all artificial light from their environment for a month, simulating natural pre-industrial light conditions. Within 3 weeks, without any instruction, every single participant spontaneously shifted into biphasic sleep. First sleep, a quiet waking interval. Second sleep. The pattern that Ekirch had found in the historical record appeared in a sleep lab, on its own, in modern humans, the moment artificial light was removed. The 8-hour consolidated sleep block, the gold standard you have been told to aim for your entire life, does not appear anywhere in the human record before the Industrial Revolution. It appears first in the 18th and 19th centuries, As artificial lighting pushed bedtimes later, as factory schedules imposed fixed wake times, and as the quiet waking interval between first and second sleep was gradually compressed into nothing and then pathologized as a problem to be solved. You were not designed to sleep in one unbroken block. Your brain was designed to surface briefly in the middle of the night, rest quietly in a state between sleeping and waking, and then descend again. Now let's reconstruct a night. Somewhere in East Africa, around 70,000 years ago, the fire at the center of the camp is down to coals. 8 or 9 people are arranged around it in various states of sleep. Some on their sides, some on their backs, children tucked into the curve of an adult's body. There is no designated sleeping time. People have been drifting off gradually over the past 2 hours as the fire dimmed and the air cooled. One adult near the edge of the group is not fully asleep. Not quite awake either. This is the lightest phase, the body at rest, the ears still open, tracking the normal sounds of the night. A distant animal. Whine through dry grass. The slow breathing of the group. Nothing wrong. The brain files this quietly and releases its hold a little more. Sometime in the deep middle of the night, several people surface. Not from a nightmare. Not from pain. Just the natural rhythm of sleep cycling upward toward the waking interval. Someone adds a piece of wood to the fire without fully sitting up. 2 people speak quietly, not about anything urgent. Just the murmur of contact. One person lies still, eyes open in the dark, in a state that feels neither fully asleep nor fully awake. What Ekirch's sources called meditative rest. The body is still. The mind moves slowly, loosely, without agenda. 20 minutes. 30. Then, one by one, the group descends again into second sleep. Lighter. Closer to the surface. More dreaming. The fire holds. By the time the eastern sky begins to gray, most of the group is already stirring. There is no hard line between sleep and waking. The transition is gradual, soft, the body rising through layers of consciousness like surfacing from warm water. Now here is the counterintuitive part. Charles Nunn and David Samson, in their 2018 analysis of human sleep evolution, argued that humans sleep significantly less than any other primate of comparable size. Chimpanzees sleep around 10 hours. Orangutans around 9. Humans, across all studied pre-industrial societies, average between 6 and 7. And yet human sleep is measurably more efficient. More time in slow-wave deep sleep and REM, less time in lighter transitional stages. We evolved to get more done in less time, unconscious. Why? Samson's hypothesis, the campfire. The controlled fire extended the social day. It pushed the useful hours of human connection, storytelling, information sharing, and pair bonding well past sunset. Sleep had to compress to make room for it. And in doing so, it became more concentrated. The brain learned to extract maximum restoration from fewer hours because those hours were the only ones available. Your ancestors did not sleep less because they had to. They slept less because they had something worth staying awake for. Matthew Walker, in his landmark 2017 synthesis of modern sleep science, documented in precise neurological detail what happens during the phases of sleep your ancestors were cycling through every night. During slow-wave deep sleep, the brain runs a maintenance cycle, flushing metabolic waste, consolidating memories from the day, repairing tissue. During REM, it processes emotional experience, not just storing it but recontextualizing it, stripping the raw emotional charge from difficult memories while preserving the factual content. You wake from REM sleep having processed something you went to bed still carrying. This is not metaphor. This is measurable neuroscience. The brain is not resting during sleep. It is working. And the work it is doing is exactly the work that makes you functional as a social, emotional, thinking creature the next day. Your ancestors did not understand any of this in the language of neurons and glial cells. But they understood the result. A person who slept well with their group, who surfaced in the quiet middle of the night and drifted back down, who woke gradually with the light. That person was sharper, more present, more capable of reading the people around them, of making decisions under pressure, of remembering what mattered. Sleep was not a pause in ancient human life. It was maintenance for the most important tool they had. And here is what that means for you. The anxiety you feel lying alone in the dark at 2 in the morning, awake and convinced something is wrong. That is not a malfunction. That is an ancient system doing exactly what it was built to do, in conditions it was never built for. It is listening for the group and finding silence. It is waiting for the fire and finding nothing. You are not broken. You are just sleeping in a way your body was never designed for, in conditions that appeared on Earth roughly 200 years ago, and being told that the discomfort you feel is a disorder rather than a signal. The signal is simple. It has always been simple. You were not built to sleep alone. You wake up exhausted. And now, for the first time, you know exactly why.